Hey guys, Dino H. Carter here, and today I want to share an interview, at least part of an interview that I had as a guest on the Dubb.com podcast with Ruben Dah. We talked about brand building and how to use the brand in a world of online sales, in a world where there's so much of the same. Ruben asked some really great questions and I decided to edit the really good stuff, the really valuable stuff without us talking about this or that and the future and after COVID and all that. So just the really great elements and knowledge and value that you can get from the talk that we had and how to take your brand and your marketing and your sales to the next level with just a few tips. So let's rock and roll.
We're going to get into this topic of, brand building in a revenue growth format. I think it's really important that we talk about this because when people think about branding, sometimes they get intimidated. I can't afford to build a brand. I need to pay the bills, right? And we need to break out of that scarcity mindset. So let's get into this topic.
The thing is that creating sales and generating sales is harder than any other time because things are different, because there's so much of the same. Whatever you are offering, someone else is offering as well. Mainly when we have an Amazon Prime based world. Everything is based on sort by price. So why should they buy from you? Why should they go to your website? Why should they click on your ad? Why should they click on your hashtag? Just like you said, they hear the word branding. They're like, oh, no, I don't have the budget for this whole, corporate identity and logos and all that. And that's not what it is. That's design. Okay. The brand is a feeling. The brand is an emotion. The brand is what other people, your customers, think about your product or your service or your company. So you need to create that emotion, that feeling, that concept in their mind or in their heart or in their gut, and then they will buy from you again and again. They will use your hashtag. They will take selfies with your product. It's not about the money. Nike is Nike, not because of the amount of money that they have, because they didn't. Tesla is not Tesla because of the amount of money that they have, because you know that we can, push tons of money into a campaign, but it will not work if it's not done right, if it's not aligned to our target audience, for instance.
Now, one of the things that I think about when I think about a brand for a company is that a person has to go through their own spiritual journey and process of self-awareness to understand truly who they are. It's the founder, it's an executive, it's a marketing person, it's a branding person. They need to understand who they are and what their personal brand is, right? And then only can you have this mindset or this philosophy of applying the same thing to what the business is. I.e., if Starbucks was a person, what would that person be like? What would they look like? What would they sound like? What would they feel like? So how might you guide us to A, understand ourself, and then B, understand the self of the business, i.e. the brand?
To know your brand, to discover your brand, as I always say, you need to focus on three questions or base it on three questions. Who, what, and why. Who is the brand? Just like you said, if my brand was a person, who would it be? Would it, age, demographics? What kind of social media my brand will use? Where would it get its news? Maybe my brand doesn't listen to the news at all. He doesn't care about the news. Would it be old one, not old, female, male? Is gender a thing? Let's say, what car would it drive? Would it drive a Mustang? Would it drive a Prius? Would it drive a Jeep? What kind of personality traits my brand will have. You really have to build that persona. So you have that to understand who is the brand. And then you need to understand who are your customers and see if there's an alignment. Now, the alignment doesn't mean that your customers has to be the same as your brand's persona. Let's take an example. So your brand is really cool, but you can target people who are uncool, but they really want to be cool.
Mm-hmm.
And you focus on them, and you know that their pain point is very focused. They want to be cool. They try to be cool. So you know exactly what kind of content they want, and you give them, you know exactly what pain points they have, what are their needs. And with your marketing and products, you answer their specific pain points.
You know what this reminds me of is that startup called Quibi, which was founded by the CEO of HP, Meg Whitman, and
Amazing woman, by the way.
yeah, amazing, right? And that startup shut down, and it's a little odd that in a global pandemic where video consumption skyrockets, where people are at home watching Netflix and watching Amazon Video and going ballistic on that, in that environment, an upright phone startup dies. It's bizarre to me. Like, what happened? What was off? Was the brand off?
Not bizarre at all.
Tell me.
The writing was on the wall.
Tell me.
Most of the startups that are cynical from the ideation will never be wow. They just wanted to be like. They said, hey, there are these millennials and Gen Zs and all this video. Let's create money out of that. There was no substance. That's first. Second, none of them, unfortunately, all of them are amazing people. Okay, amazing.
Yeah, Jeffrey Katzenberg was one of the founders, Meg Whitman.
That can't look at the map and see the map and understand, okay, they didn't understand their target audience. They didn't understand what they need to bring to the table when there's Netflix. So why you? You see the word here, why? Why is super important. Why did you start the business? When you talk about personal brand and all that, why did you do it? Like, think like a shrink. Why did you do it? Forget about the money. You didn't do it for money when it first started. If you did it for money, you will not have a brand. Just focus on sales. But why should they buy from you? Why should they leave Netflix, leave YouTube, and go just to watch what?
But my issue with this though is that anytime that there's a corporate entity, a conglomerate that says we want to, or a group of them that says we want to go invest into this market because we see, a massive market for this, right? And we want to sell to millennials or whatever. The intention of that is profit. It doesn't have the great founding story where someone says, I really want to help people to find better nannies for their kids.
Of course. But
so how can companies keep their intentions pure with truly helping people and not being overly focused on exploiting markets?
That's a great question. A company has one goal, and that is to create more income for stockholders. That's it. Now the question is, how are we going to do it? We're in 2021. We're not in 1821, where there's no internet, there's no press. You can do whatever you want to your workers. You can steal, you can sell crap that doesn't exist and tell that people that it will prolong their lives. So
snake, you're talking about snake oil.
Exactly. So the question is, how are you going to do it? What is the process that you're going to take? What is your ideation process? Why do you do it? So the company is doing it for a profit, but then you have to answer the why. Why should they buy? Why should they use? Quibi says, because it's very short content. Because they don't have the attention span and all. That's bullshit. That's bullshit, because people sitting in front of Netflix and watch and binge 1 hour long episodes,
12 in a row.
so why do you, if it's short, they can go, they have their Facebook, they have Instagram, they don't need that. They have TikTok, they have YouTube. So why?
Yeah.
So bring something. And again, I'm not into this whole altruism. I help this or this or this. Not everybody helps. Not everybody needs a brand with substance and legacy. But you really need to think, okay, who am I? What exactly do I want? And how am I going to do that? Am I going to chase the buck, or am I going to chase legacy? And legacy, just like Oprah said, is not the thing that you build. Legacy is the amount of people you touch in a deeper level. So that's legacy, and that's totally different than get subscribers just because you want subscribers.
Well, part of your legacy is your book, in fact, and I'd love to understand that. What was the process like? What was your inspiration story for that? What is it about?
So the W system, and actually I'm now writing a few additions to it, so it will be even easier to use. Once I understood that those W questions, who, what, why, are a system that you can use in order to understand everything about your business and build that brand, and it can help every process in your business, even HR, if the people that I'm looking for are not on brand, they will not be happy coming to work, which means that my brand will not be optimized. So I just said, hey, let's take those questions and write down how you can use it and how to understand this whole system, that if you want, you can just use, all your stakeholders for 3 hours and come up with discovering your brand, understanding your business so well that everything will be much better. A fintech that I worked with, and I brought from pretty much zero to being able to secure $14 million in investment, just because I create a brand specific into their industry. They're not a household name or anything, but in their industry. And they were great, but they came with me. The CEO said, I have great team, but something is not working. And in the first meeting, I understood that they don't know who they are. They don't understand the brand. They don't understand why do we come to work? So using the W system, I asked questions, and all those questions are in that book. And all of a sudden, they understood exactly what they're doing, why they're coming to work. I am a very one-on-one kind of consultant. Let's find your brand story. Let's find that. And all of a sudden, this fintech company, it was like, boom, everyone understood something. All of a sudden, they wanted to come to work. They wanted to create better marketing, better sales. All of a sudden, the sales team, we were able to create the right sales cadences, the right sales emails, the right scripts. Because before that, they were just trying to close deals on empty stomach. So that's exactly what you do with the W system and those questions.
Nice, man. And you've got some great content on your website. Could you guide us on where we can learn more about you, your website, social handles?
Sure. I'm really active on LinkedIn, of course, on thebrandingla.com. And if you're looking for one-on-one coaching, training, consulting, just go to dinohcarter.com and you'll find me there.
Amazing. Well, Dino H. Carter, I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for the time. And I will see you in Los Angeles very, very soon since we're in the same town.
Hell yeah. Thank you so much for having me.